Thank you very much, Mamela, Program Director, Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, Honorable Chairperson and Deputy Chairperson of the NCOP, and the Honorable President and Deputy President who are on their way here, to the honorable members of this august House, including the ministers that are part of that establishment but have got a more direct and frontline responsibility on issues of governance. I guess to my colleagues as well, the heads and representatives of the institutions supporting democracy, we come here as the audit office in the few numbers that we are represented here to just reflect on the journey that we have experienced together. And I must start off by reflecting on the acknowledgement of the biggest support that personally I've had with, let me say, from the family. Both the close family that I live with at home every day, which I inherited in my adult life. I'm a Joacha. And when I include this family, I also include Simango, which is my mother-in-law, who has been a great pillar of support and strength for the work that we've been doing with my wife and our children. And go to my other immediate family, Amakubev Omaduna, Omsuto Tibochian, Osalagulandel. This is the clan listing of my father and my grandfather, who was born from Intombia kwa Dlomo. Dlomo gave birth to my father. And when I acknowledge the family support, Abantu bakwaDlomo kwa BT has still a period of strength in the way in which we organize our posture as professionals today. Omtungwa okhumala oDubandlela, which is my mother, is a family that is important in my life, whose mother, Ongumam Yecha, is an important period of strength, and the clan that taught us what family unity is about. Distant as it may sound and appear to be for me, but when you go to Ulali, that's where Amayecha are present in numbers. Very united family. So that's the kind of architecture of that you see standing in front of you, molded by those different combinations of influences that make sure that we do and learn and do only that is good, that is right, that is honest, that is truthful. And when we bring to these jobs some of these values, it's not a theoretical recitation of what should be. It's a reflection of what humanity is about. For that is what we've learned from this multiplicity of clans that we are associated with. The family within the Auditor-General has been a big family with whom we've been able to chart together a culture that would bring this institution that we talk about today to what it has become. The government, leadership and structures with whom we have worked, both at the level of the political posture, the executive posture, the oversight posture, both nationally, provincially, and at local government level, in both those pillars of government. Ruling and opposition parties are all the opportunities we've had to converse with in order to find the expression of the things we needed to express. And that's including at the helm of that, the cabinet with whom we've had a session this morning, as the Minister of Finance has alluded. The institutions supporting democracy, the fact that we've been able to put together a forum that will maximize, even though it's still the early beginnings, the coordination that we have amongst ourselves in order to live up to the expectations that are there for us of supporting and strengthening democracy, are those institutions with whom I cannot forget to highlight what gave us the kind of momentum and the motivation that we have been able to display. Certainly the media has been part of the equation in doing what we could do the least, which is exposing some of our impressions to the wider citizens of South Africa and beyond. And obviously the citizens of South Africa, for embracing and understanding some of the issues that ought to be done, so that when one day they make decisions, they make informed decisions that are based on facts, not the rhetoric. And I'm saying this with the greatest amount of awareness that we're now heading for elections in the next few months. You know, and the facts will be more important than the rhetoric. The message I wanted to leave with us here today is a simple message that says, dreams do truly come true. And this is something that we have experienced as an audit office, because many years ago, Honorable Speaker mentioned about 13 years of my experience in this office, first as a Deputy Auditor General. That's the time when, at some stage, we used to make surveys at the level of the executive, surveys at the level of the public, to understand what it is that we can do to maximize the work that we do. You'll be amazed that one of the things that has been a source of our guidance and inspiration is the one clear and loud message we got when we surveyed government. It said, share your knowledge with us willingly and happily. If you can do that, because you don't do much of that. You've got lots of knowledge at this institution, but you don't share it with us. You come and scrutinize our affairs and you disappear into thin air. And I think the issue of the visibility program that we've been driving has been inspired by that message that came from that feedback that we got from government. You also won't believe the fact that when we try to understand to what extent the public understands this institution called Auditor-General's Office. We've had to talk to 100 people 12, 13 years ago. But it took the effort of having to talk to 10,000 people to get 100 comments. I don't know whether you understand this mathematics. We had to talk to 10,000 people to get feedback from 100 people about what this office is about. And there was a logic to that task. The logic was, if you cannot answer the first question that says, do you know who and what the Auditor General is, then you fail the test. We've got to move on to someone else. That's who we were a decade ago. If we were to do that survey today, I'm sure the results would definitely be different. So dreams do truly come true. Because our dream was that this institution must be known and understood what it is and stands for. Today, a decade ago, that dream has truly come true. The dream of sharing our knowledge and inspiration willingly has also come true. And those are the two issues that I think, on my side, are very critical for us to reflect on how this institution, with your involvement, has journeyed through these last decades. Minister of Finance, you mentioned something that your colleagues within Treasury always teased us and told us it is actually the biggest lie you can ever tell. When we say, when we go to the departments, we are here to help you, people never believe that we're there to help them. And alternatively, when the department says you're welcome, they said those are the two biggest lies that can ever be told in the field of auditing. I'm saying to you, dreams truly do come true. We've managed to convert a myth to reality. When we walk into the departments now and say, we're here to help you, people believe us. When department says welcome, that is now the norm in the way in which the public service has been converted. So those are the issues I can talk about in terms of the clear outcomes of all the efforts that we've been able to go through, most of which has been cited by many commentators that have spoken before me. What I would like to do, though, is just to share with you some of the few experiences at an international level which have been cited here briefly. We've just come from a congress in China 2 weeks ago, in which I was handing over the presidency of AFROSAI to my colleague Li Jiayi in China. The theme of that congress was about good governance as a founding pillar of sustainable financial management. And that theme, through the papers that were delivered, got converted and adopted by Congress as the Beijing Declaration. That declaration incorporates many issues that need to be considered by governments in order to strengthen the pillar of financial sustainability. It's a theme that we've been toying with and reflecting on for many years as the body of Auditors Generals, since the early years of the financial crisis. And we've come to a point where now we understood the fundamentals of what works, what does not work. And I want to leave you with that message that as a body of Auditors Generals world over, that Beijing Declaration is something I want to leave here for you to study, for you to consider as a reflection from those that experienced in the field of auditing what works, what does not work. It's a declaration that incorporates what the United Nations also adopted 2 years ago, which is the recognition of the audit offices as a critical pillar in strengthening that environment. When they adopted the UN resolution, we call it A66/209, we even know it by heart. It's a resolution that fortunately talks directly to what we enjoy in South Africa. Because when you talk about the Auditor-General's effectiveness, and you look at all the elements of the declarations that have been issued by the Auditors-Generals, which were endorsed by the United Nations, it cuts across everything that we do, not alone, but with you, with yourselves. And therefore, we've got every reason to rejoice as South Africans, to be more louder about these issues so that we become a source of inspiration for those nations that have not as yet matured to those levels of wisdom and appreciation and understanding. It's a declaration that is important for us because it also incorporates what in our engagements, premature engagements with the Secretary General of the United Nations. The UN has clearly said that the Millennium Development Goals are coming to a horizon 2 years to come, in 2015. We have learned one lesson, that without the strong pillars of governance, everything that we wish to achieve will always fall flat in its face. And the UN has therefore invited the body of Auditors Generals to work with it in helping it to formulate that needs to be part of the foundation of any agenda of the UN beyond 2015. And this is a body that we have had a privilege to head as South Africans. This is a body that we also have a privilege to continue to participate in, because as I exit as the president, Mr. Makwetu is coming in as the chair of one of the biggest and the most important pillar of that institution, which is called capacity building. He's taking over from our colleagues in Morocco to chair the capacity building committee of the whole world body of Auditors Generals. What a wonderful opportunity to then advance all these principles of good governance. Which are part of the Beijing Declaration, and incorporate everything that we can associate with the value and benefits of working with Auditors Generals in a positive and constructive manner. And lastly, I know I've mentioned the United Nations here, but there are many other movers and shakers of what holds in the world stage. And we know, and we've recognized this within INTOSAI, that we've been working more in the background. And now that we have solidified and concretized our wisdom, this institution is more than ready now to come out in the open and be a lot more active in structures that I guess, Minister of Finance, you also participate in, the G20s, G8s, et cetera, et cetera. It's a resource that has been highly underutilized globally. And these are the opportunities that through Mr. Makwetu will be able to have a channel through which we can source some of the insights from people that know and understand what works, what does not work when it comes to issues of governance. And with those words, I just want to say, I said when I was giving a handover speech in Beijing, in which, by the way, the Premier of China, Mr. Li, also endorsed the importance of good governance. I said, the only thing we can bring to this global stage, which obviously affects what we have in South Africa as well, is nothing else than the sincerity with which we want to get things done. There's no shortage of theory. There's no shortage of business school information. But the only thing we can bring in these platforms is the values and of truth, honesty, integrity. If you can just bring those three things to say, without truth, without honesty, without integrity, nothing will ever work when it comes to good governance. And this is what has been guiding us together with Uzkal Mkoto Makwetu in terms of what works, what does not work. And I've got every pleasure in standing here and handing over to someone who has got the greatest amount of appreciation of what this means, and to be able to take this institution from even more strengths than this institution has ever shown up to now. And I also just want to take this opportunity to thank the provinces. We've been able to go through the legislatures, staff, every other stakeholders. The municipalities are the one that had a bit of a raw deal, but I'm sure they will get the message. For welcoming us, for showering us with gifts. The biggest gift of all were the messages of and tributes that were poured, like the one that were poured here today. And all I need personally is this information, these messages that are gonna be a reflection of the wonderful journey we've had together of telling the story that dreams truly do come through. Even the one of clean governance, the one of good governance will come through in South Africa. I believe that from the bottom of my heart. I've been asked yet to comment on what it is that I plan to do next, and I got the message from an unidentified, anonymous contender that tell them that you're coming to me. In South Africa, there's an important development of developing a school of government and governance to make sure that we institutionalize the principles of good governance that we're talking about, because they're not going to come accidentally. They need to be grounded at a school level. I certainly have not decided where I'm going, but certainly what I know, whatever I do, I will be one of the active supporters and active activists in making that school of government the success we can all imagine in South Africa. I'm just looking for the institution that, in this way, Minister, I'm saying I'm not coming to the school of government, but I'm looking for the institution that will enable me to have a dedicated and unrestricted opportunity to make this a reality. Parliament. I think let me leave it at a principal level, Honorable Speaker. So that's where I'm going. And I'm in the process, advanced stages of finalizing negotiations with my future employer that I've got no doubt you will, once it's announced, you'll be proud of. And I was just wishing that by the time I come here, that contract would have been signed, and I just need to honor and respect my future employer for not divulging these things prematurely to them. But at least the condition I've given to them is that whatever I do, I shall not turn my back on government and strengthening governance in South Africa. You know, that's all I said. And lastly, I just want to leave a special thank you to SCOWEC, which is the Standing Committee on the Auditor-General, which is a committee that has been a pillar of support for us, directly representing Parliament, in helping us, guiding us, coaching us, engaging with us on everything that we have been appearing in the public to be mastering. Had it not been for SCOWEC, it would have been a difficult terrain to venture into. And I see the previous chair here, Honorable Masuta, Advocate Masuta is here with us. Thanks for coming. and the acting chair, where is he? This has been a committee with whom I'm hoping we can finalize and speed up the confirmation of the next Auditor-General, because it is long overdue. It is long overdue. It's putting us under immense pressure in terms of now appointing the successor to Mr. Makwetu. And you can imagine having to, I'm saying this from experience, I had to work in that institution for 6 months doing the Auditor-General job and the Deputy Auditor-General job. Because you can't get anyone to act within the office, knowing that these are the same people that in future will be applying for the same job. So that's the pressure that it actually imposes on us. So the early conclusion of these decisions really help us a great deal to have logical succession in these institutions. And I'm therefore applauding SCOWEC to then continue on that momentum of speed, a momentum of responsiveness, to at least even in this hour of need, at least help us with that as well. Thank you very much.